Joining us now from the Committee to Unleash Prosperity, Heritage Foundation Distinguished Fellow of Economics, Steve Moore. The biggest question is, how far does this spread? Much talk, not just from Charlie Munger, about this moving into commercial real estate.
You know, I was listening to the White House press secretary talking about this today, and the more she tried to assure me that everything's just fine, the more nervous I got. So, look, I do think that you look at what happened today with some of these regional banks, PacWest, Western Alliance, they fell in their shares by 25, 30% in one day. So, yeah, I think there's a reason for nervousness. I think a lot of these banks have been caught with their pants down with respect to the huge increase in interest rates. I'm not so sure why they weren't prepared for that, but it's clear that the assets on their balance sheet are worth a lot less than they were a year and a half ago.
Steve, let's get to the debt limit debate, because Biden's summoned a meeting with congressional leaders next week. Now, you're a longtime observer of D.C. You know how the swamp works. How do you see this thing playing out?
I think, you know, look, the Biden administration and Chucky Schumer I think they feel like they're in a box with the walls collapsing on them. I don't see how, I mean, I listened to the statement by Janet Yellen, I guess it was yesterday, where she said, you know, Republicans have to pass a debt ceiling bill. I'm like, hello, were you know, in a foreign country at a climate change conference or something? The Republicans, as you know, Sean, have passed a debt ceiling bill. And this has put a lot of pressure on Schumer, and I don't see how he gets 50 votes for anything, Sean. I mean, you've been in Congress. It's really difficult for the Democrats. I don't see any alternative but for Biden to, you know, negotiate with Kevin McCarthy. And by the way, I want Kevin McCarthy to get a good deal. It's not just negotiating, but we've got to get caps on spending. We got to get work requirements. We got to get more oil and gas production. These are big issues we're talking about here.
Really quickly, how stupid are these Democrats that these assets on these balance sheets, these loans from these regional banks, they were underwater when they were written, 20%. Now they're maybe 45% underwater. So they're going to screw this up and send interest rates even higher and hammer these banks even more?
Well, look, you're blaming the Fed, and I think maybe the Fed has raised rates too sharply, too quickly. But remember, I mean, this really circles back to the massive $6 trillion Biden spending spree. Right. I mean, the chickens are coming home to roost here, because as you see interest rates rise to suck some of that money back out of the economy, these regional banks are just getting hammered. So, you know, the best thing to do right now, Dagan, is for Joe Biden and Kevin McCarthy to get together and cut about $2 or $3 trillion out of this budget. That would solve a lot of problems.
Steve Moore, we can only hope. Thank you for joining us today. Appreciate it.
Okay. See you guys.